Hey, how's it going? Zach D Productions here, and I'm here for a movie review for you guys. So for this review, I'll be reviewing The Equalizer 3, which I did recently go see in theaters, and this is of course the third installment in the Equalizer franchise with Denzel Washington. And apparently this is going to be the finale of the Equalizer films as well, because I remember when all the ads came out and all the uh trailers came out for this film, they kept going on and on about how The Equalizer 3 is going to be the finale of the Equalizer franchise. What is my take on that? Well, we could sit here all day and argue why don't they make more? Like, for me personally, I'd be okay if they made more, like if they continued on after this. But I try to look at things this way. I would rather have three great films, which I thought all three of the Equalizer films were great. I would rather have all three of these great films and just leave it at this than to have these films plus more and those films not be very good. So that's kind of a way you have to look at things sometimes. So yeah, it is nice that I think they stopped at least at a trilogy. At least they made it to a trilogy, which I am satisfied about. With that being said, I thought that The Equalizer 3 was a really good movie. I actually really did enjoy this one. I do have some critiques with it, but I think all in all, it is a very solid movie with Denzel Washington. And again, I liked all the Equalizer movies. I think the first one is still probably the best. Like, if I were to rank all the films, I'm not really sure how I would rank, I guess the bottom two. All I know is that the first one would be at the top for me. Equalizer 2 and Equalizer 3 honestly go back and forth. At the moment, I'm really not sure which of the two I like more. They kind of go hand in hand with each other. I guess we'll have to see what time itself will have to say about that. But nonetheless, I do like The Equalizer 3. It is still a very solid movie. And Denzel, of course, giving it his all in this movie, just like he did in the first two films. And he is, I think, one of the all-time greats. He is a great actor, and I've always respected him, and I do like a lot of Denzel Washington's work, particularly in these movies here. I do think that the Equalizer films are honestly some of his best movies, one of his best action franchises, I would say. Of course, he's well known for being in other films like Man on Fire and Two Guns and Training Day, just to name a few. So yeah, I do like a lot of Denzel's work. Again, particularly in these Equalizer films. And do I think that the third installment is a good finale? I would honestly say it's just a decent finale. Like, if you were to watch this film, it doesn't really have that finale feel to it, which is one of the things that I've noticed right away, and you could say that this is a flaw. It really doesn't have that sense of finale to it. I'm not sure what it is, but I guess it's a decent way to close off this franchise. And the plot of Equalizer 3, it's decent as well. Of course, you have Denzel Washington's character, going to Italy, basically after all the crap that he's been through in the first two movies and all the people that he's dealt with in the first two movies. He's just trying to get away from everything, and he's basically brought back to action when there's basically this gang who terrorizes the citizens and everything, so he wants to get back at them, and he wants to make peace in where he is now. So yeah, that's basically some of the gist of the movie. And you have Dakota Fanning's character show up in the movie. She's like some operative person who basically helps Denzel's character, or is curious about what's going on, because like there's something else that's going on with like this gang, like, and everything, and they have to bring down this gang and everything. So yeah, it's pretty neat. So the plot, it's not like anything special or anything, but I think it's done decently. And I thought that the action scenes in this movie were pretty good. I mean, now the action scenes, that's one of the things that I do have to say about this movie, and you could say it's one of my main critiques with this movie. After the intro scene of this movie when Denzel is, killing all those guys in that room, the action doesn't really occur, till much later in the movie. Now, I don't know if that's just something that I've noticed or, again, I don't know if it's just me or what, but it seemed like the action really didn't reoccur till much later in the movie. With that being said, I do feel like this movie could have benefited with more action, but when the action does happen, it's really solid. So I can't complain too much about that. And I thought that the action scenes themselves were really good. They were really well done. Again, especially back in that intro scene where Denzel's killing all those guys in that room, the part where he literally shoves a gun in someone's face and just kills the rest of those guys. I mean, that was really intense. Now, one of the things that I did notice as well, something else that kind of let me down about this film was the ending. Now, with the first two Equalizer movies, you basically have Denzel lure the bad guys to some area, and he basically just has fun killing them. Like, he could just take them all out at once or whatever, but it's not really done like that in the ending of these Equalizer movies. Like, in the first film, you had him in that hardware store and, basically trapping all those guys and taking all those guys out, and then you had basically another version of that in the second film where he goes back to his homeland where that hurricane was going on. You basically had a similar scenario, but just there. I feel like that the finale was done the weakest in the third film, and I'm sure maybe a lot of you would agree with me on that. I was a little underwhelmed by that, but I think all in all, it's still done okay. It's still done decently. And the violence and the gore, I feel like, is something else that's been kind of amped up a little bit in the third film, which, is kind of interesting. So, yeah, you could say it's a bit darker in tone. So, all in all, I do like Equalizer 3. It's definitely a really good movie. I'll definitely be picking it up on Blu-ray whenever it comes out on Blu-ray. So, all in all, I really liked The Equalizer 3. Definitely a really good movie. So, if I were to give this movie a score, I would probably give it, honestly, an 8 out of 10. Overall, solid movie. So let me know what you think of The Equalizer 3. Have you seen this movie? And if so, what do you think of it? Feel free to let me know what you think. So on that note, thanks for watching. Have a good one.